Hey guys, welcome to FSE Live. Here with all of my good friends and team and staff. I like saying good friends. I don't know why.
I appreciate it.
Got Brian here.
Hi.
Drea Boland.
Hey.
Justin Scott.
I'm back.
Thad Boland. Christina's off.
Heyo.
Christina's off doing some amazing things, which we'll announce maybe next week. I'm not sure what's happening right now, but
We don't even know.
yeah, we don't even know yet. So, but good things happening. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We got a really fun class lined up, and then also we have a lot of questions from you guys that we're going to get to, we're going to answer. So while I'm finishing prepping, just smoothing out the mannequin, we're going to be doing dry hair cutting tonight with a razor. So a lot of people are iffy about that, but I think after tonight you'll see the benefits of that as well. And we're going to be using the carving comb. We're going to do some scissor over skin fading in the back because we're going to do an undercut on the bob. So actually I'll just show you guys real quick. This is the, nice light. Can you see this in the camera? Let's go.
Don't put it in front of you. There.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh.
So nice light feel, medium length bob with a razor. We cut it dry, and then behind, underneath, we did a really fun undercut. This is obviously on a mannequin, but the great thing about this, it removes a lot of weight from your bulkier haired clients, more density. You could take out that weight and create a really airy, choppy, fun graduation and just a nice, soft, flowy look. I think a lot of times back in the day when somebody wanted a one-length haircut, it meant that it was going to get really big and triangular. And now we've been able to, with the undercut, becoming more popular and a lot of guests being willing to do that. Now we're finding that we could take that bulk out and just let it lay nice and soft and sleek with a lot of texture as well. So I'm going to finish smoothing. Brian, if you want to take over the questions and stuff, and we can get started with that.
All right. So first of all, I want to say we are armed with live chat.
Yes.
So if you guys have any questions, just throw them out there as we're rolling along. We'll try to go over them. And then obviously if you're not watching this live, then please just put them down in the comments below. So everybody asked where these questions come from. Every Wednesday when we do the show on Free Salon Education's Instagram, Matt puts up something saying, you could win a chance to win something when Drea spins the wheel, something having to do with that. Maybe a picture of the hair we're doing that day, maybe a picture of the wheel. You put your question down in the comments below. We'll go through them and then randomly pick somebody at the end. And we spin the wheel for you. And then Drea gives you a prize from her own personal stash.
Exactly.
Exactly. That's exactly
Are
what I
you the
do.
person who won twice in a row? You're just not telling us? Do you have a P.O. box somewhere?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I do.
And I think also, just so people know, they can enter. Basically, you can ask questions whenever you want. So as long as you use the hashtag Free Salon Education, you don't have to wait for us to post every week. I mean, that's going to get you into the wheel competition. But you don't have to do. You don't have to post once we post that.
Right. You don't have to wait for that. You can ask questions whenever.
And the wheel thing, for some reason, that center piece of the wheel keeps turning.
Oh, that's because we were moving it.
Is it stuck again?
Yes.
So it's
I'll
gonna
hold it really tight while Drea spins, and we'll just hope for the
While
best.
Drea
Yeah.
places it back on Mizutani
Well,
again?
what happens is that's when it gets stuck and then it doesn't turn. Thank you, Wheels of New Jersey,
Oh.
for making this wheel that is very complicated and very expensive.
Whoa.
Why you gotta throw
For sure.
Jersey under the
Whoa.
bus like that?
I
bro?
know, it's true.
Because they
I
dropped the
usually
ball.
love New Jersey. I don't know what's going on with them.
I don't.
They're
I
being-
hate on
Should
it,
we
please.
call them and be like, your wheel is busted?
Yeah, we should.
Well,
for sure.
Drea,
There's gotta be a
since
warranty
you're the
on that
wheel
thing.
gal, I think that's a call you should
Yeah,
be
you
making.
can.
I
You
mean,
can handle that. Since no
If
one
I
else
have the
will touch it.
contact information, I will contact them.
Thad, maybe when I start cutting hair and stuff, if you could, because you know how to fix that, because you're such a
A wheel
handy
man.
man. Yeah.
All right. Oh, we have
All
a
right.
new hello from tonight. We got Nicaragua
Nice.
Ooh.
and lots of really great
Ah.
states. We actually have people in the states watching tonight.
Cool. All right.
We got Florida, Georgia, Utah, Montana. That's a
Utah.
first.
I can't hear that Utah without thinking Johnny Utah.
What's that
No.
from?
Point Break.
Point Break.
Oh.
Come on,
It
bro.
was- yeah, come on.
Surfing will
Okay,
change your
I'm
life.
sorry I didn't watch that since it came out.
I haven't seen the new one. I just
Really?
watched the old one religiously.
All right. So
Ready for questions?
yeah,
Or
let's
you
get
ready
into
to
the
talk.
questions. Yeah.
Okay. First question. K Fulmer 1231. When lifting for a true silver or the new neon glow in the dark trend, what toner are you going to use after lightning? I guess we're going to have to see what you lift to get that to show up. I mean, if it's yellow, then obviously you're going to have to tone out the yellow
Anything
with
with a
violet. I mean, you need to get it light anyway so that you can get those colors to show up. So most often you're going to be toning out yellow.
Yeah.
I agree.
Unless it's you and all the yellow.
Right.
I know. I'm glad I did a really good job of toning out the yellow out of your hair.
I know. And then I was like, man, let's just do all yellow.
And then you throw some yellow on top of it. That
I
was
did.
great.
Who's
Really
mad at it?
appreciative.
Apparently, Drea.
Somebody has asked, we've got Crystal MC72. Situation, lifted client's hair from 5 to 8, applied Pravana Fantasy colors. Now the client wants to go back to darker, a more natural color. What do you find is the best way to neutralize those vivid colors and fill for the adherence of the darker color?
Honestly, I've had a lot of luck with the Vivids and the Joico color. Just doing a light shampoo cap with 10 volume just kind of really gently lifts and removes that out of the hair. Just a couple minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Same thing with gone every color of the rainbow with, like all those reds and purples and stuff. Same thing. Olaplex, some little soap cap, nice conditioning treatment. You still have hair, you can tone it, go from there.
There's a thing on Facebook that got me a little intrigued right now going on about, I forget what company makes it. Maybe it's any company, but they were saying how 10N is their new favorite way to
Yeah,
get
what was
rid of.
I did see that as well.
I was reading it, and they were talking about how it's, I think it might be a Veda. It's like some new line that they've come out with using that level, that company's 10N is supposed to lift as though you were using bleach, but not damage like bleach would, even though they were using like 30 and 40 volume. It helps to strip out the vivid colors while still leaving the blonde a toned color.
Huh. I want to try it.
I know, I do too.
Also, because this happened when I was teaching at the Paul Mitchell School, they decided to do a clear shine over top of freshly inked hair
Yeah.
to hope that it would last.
I've seen that too,
And-
but I haven't tried it since, because that was old school
That's
Inkworks
true.
that sucked anyway.
And I just ripped it right out.
Oxygen made that fall out.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, if you use the blow dryer a little too high.
Yeah.
Or if you
Came
or
out.
if you use the blow dryer.
Hey, Matt.
Yep.
Jose, can you see, is asking, hey, Matt, how do you know what shape the undercut should be depending on the haircut? I don't think all my clients are going to be cool with having their head shaved down to the skin, even if it will be hidden when they need an undercut.
Yeah, I totally agree. So that's what I want to go over because with this haircut, I'm going to go to the skin, but I get that most people are not going to want to wear something that short. And that's more of kind of a younger clientele for that. But with that being said, Christina, you know, she's been wearing it. She does wear a little bit funkier color, but you know, we go to parent teacher conferences and we do, you know, we live the mom and dad lifestyle. So and people love it, but we never took it to the skin. We took it, you know, more
You
like
buzzed it.
Yeah, we buzzed it with a number 1. We did kind of a nice fade. Justin did a fade on it, I believe, once. So I think that it's based on your guest. What was that?
What could have just
Wasn't-
broken downstairs?
Something fell down in the basement. So
That wasn't a
what I
possum.
want to go over in this class, and that's going to be the most important part of the haircut, is deciding what type of undercut you want. I think that's what's going to make this interesting. Then I'm going to show you guys some techniques on how to go to the skin with the scissor, because I think that's something that would be more difficult. So my thought process with this is I want to help you with the skin fade with the scissor. Try something new. Go for something that maybe you wouldn't go for normally. But there's got to be a reality check in there as well to how do we want to go about an undercut with every single guest. So we're actually pretty much at that point. So if you want to go one more question, I'm going to get this section off, and then we'll get started with that
Sure.
part.
I've got Tara and Max saying, what suggestions do you have when you have an employer who is consistently negative and talks about nothing but negative issues with clients, and it begins affecting the atmosphere and other stylists? We've politely brought up being positive and negative, but doesn't get anywhere, we are at a loss. We need some suggestions.
You guys had this happen before? I mean, obviously I'm super negative, but
I have.
like so tell me about this environment, because I've definitely never.
Well, I used to have a boss who it used to kill me. I'll never forget the day I got so mad because I spend 2 hours sitting there with my guests between cut and color and just having a good time, a nice environment. And he was always that guy that just had to be so negative about everything. Like, he walked over and in 15 seconds completely just crapped all over the mood that I had created. He'd come over and, oh my God, did you hear so-and-so died? And I'm like, seriously? I'm getting ready to take off the cape and say, hey, we had a really great 2 hours, thanks. And now he just put that horrible taste in her mouth when she's getting ready to leave. And honestly, I mean, that was the boss. I had two options, deal with it or leave.
Right.
And the way that I dealt with it was just to make sure that you create the kind of experience with your guests that if there is any negativity around you, it just makes them look like that's their issue. That's not the whole environment that you're stewing in. That's them. And it eventually got to the point where that's not the kind of visit that my guests had with me. So if my boss or somebody else was negative around us, it was more just like, oh God, like I didn't even have to say anything, and they would just see it and kind of, give a side eye and then do their best to ignore it and just go back to whatever we were doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody else have this problem, Justin?
I've worked tons of negative people, and that's pretty much it. You can make a little bubble for you and your guests. Whether I've been in shops where I've had my own room, I've been in salons where I've been side by side next to people like most people have, and it's just all about what kind of environment you put in front of you in that chair. If you're gonna let someone else come over and dictate how your conversation, your whole thing's gonna go, you kind of need to get a range on that anyway.
Yeah, I think people need to realize that, like, you create the environment that's around you, whether you have negative people around you or not. Like, I was just talking to Christina today, and I came in here. There's some days that I come in here and I'm like, I might be really stressed out. And even lately, it's almost like I never used to carry it around with me, but lately for some reason, I feel like I kind of do that. And so today Christina asked me how everybody was doing in here. And I said, I think everybody's great, but I also walked in giving everyone high fives. And I felt like today was kind of like.
You didn't say hi to me for 15 minutes. I did not get a high five.
See, Brian's pissed.
I didn't get a high
now that I
five.
know everyone else got a high five, yeah, I am.
I didn't get a high five. It was just a Boland's.
I put my arm around you when I walked in, actually.
Wow.
You did.
I did.
Yeah.
And we discussed
The
I had-
tables.
the tables.
I
But-
finally had to say hi to Matt to make him notice that I was here.
You were busy working, okay? I also know when to hold back and wait for you. And sometimes you talk a lot, and you were in the middle of talking, okay?
Brian, we actually have to talk.
Sometimes
always
Brian
talk a
talks
lot.
Sometimes.
I talk a lot in my
Sometimes.
sleep.
So here's the thing, though. I think that you create the environment that you're in. I think if you start acting positive around negative people, I think it rubs off on people. I'm not saying you can make everyone that's negative happy, but sometimes people need that extra push to be happy. And I think that can put you more into a leadership role if you start kind of changing that environment instead of just getting upset about it. That would be my recommendation, to try to shift the feeling, maybe do something nice for that negative person. Because sometimes people just really want you to say hi to them within 15 minutes. Like, some people want,
I was fine.
I know, I'm just saying, like, acknowledgement. Like, you knew that I didn't say hi to you for 15 minutes. So
He was actually counting.
now that I know these things, like, you got to change it, and then I think it'll all come into place.
I worked for a salon owner who got upset when you came into work, if you didn't come and say hi to her.
But
well,
I think
that stuff's weird.
I think we're getting a little off topic though, because like this is a miserable salon owner who's just very unhappy, and everybody around them is being happy. I think it's something that, like I said, you make yourself happy and your guest happy, and make your guests know that your salon owners just, that's how they are. Because if every time they come over, and Brian said it best,
Right.
they come over and they're miserable, and every other time when they're not there, you're happy. They just kind of realize that, or you just need to kind of pick up and go.
Yeah, I mean, that's really ultimately, if it's your boss, I guess I get that. But
If it's not your boss, go out back and fight him.
Matt.
Yep.
Question on the haircut.
Okay.
How will the haircut end up on people who do not naturally have straight hair? Will you do this on curly peeps?
yes, I'm gonna pretty much answer. So
I know. I'm just throwing it out
No,
there
no,
now
I
to
know.
make sure we hit it.
yeah, because
I'll forget.
this
but-
is a question that comes up. Even the haircut I just put out on video today, I specifically said right away, this is straight. I'm cutting it on straight hair, but it can absolutely be on curly hair. The only difference between cutting curly hair and straight hair is you're going to work with elevation a little bit differently because sometimes there would be too much weight buildup. So this haircut is perfect on curly hair for a lot of reasons. The biggest reason is you're taking out density, and curly hair tends to expand, like Brian's hair. Can we get a close-up of that? And so curly hair tends to expand. So if you remove the bottom portion of the haircut, then you're going to see that that you're allowing that curl to fall a little bit easier. This is a perfect haircut for curly hair. I think that I would go in and go pretty short with the baseline, just like we're going to do, and then allow those curls to fall over. And that's one way that instead of doing it the old school way where we used to take curly hair and cut it at 90 degrees and 180 degrees and try to just cut as short of layers as we could so that it wouldn't explode and expand out. Now we can go in, take it from the underneath, and allow longer layers to fall over so that we don't have to deal with the short, spiky, curly layers that are sticking out of your head. So that would be my answer there.
Excellent.
All right. So I'm really excited because Mizutani sent me one of the newest scissors, which is the Mizutani Blacksmith Solid. See if we can get that to focus in, Thad.
Focus.
Focus there, buddy. There we go.
There you go.
So this scissor is really cool. I got it at 7 inches, so you can see that that's a nice big blade on the scissor. The thing I like about that is being able to scissor over comb. So when they asked me what size would I like the scissor, I wanted to get a bigger scissor because I don't, in my collection, this is the longest one that I have at this point. It allows you to do a lot of work at once and get things done. The other thing that I love is how skinny the handle is on this scissor. So it fits really well in the hand and it allows that blade to just really open up nice and wide. So you guys will see it in action in 1 second. Let me turn the head. What I did with the sectioning, this is all based on density, so I don't want anybody to think, okay, I have to section it right at the occipital bone. This is a little bit above occipital. This mannequin has barely any hair. We just got a bunch of them in from Pivot Point. But if you take too far of a section up, then this hair is going to be too weak in the final result of the haircut. So you don't want to section too high. Basically, what I would do is I would take this section of your guest hair, twist it up out of the way, let this hair fall over, and check to make sure that the density is the right density for you before going on with the haircut, and then you'll have more success with it. So we're going to start off just by getting the bulk of the hair out. So what I'm going to do is come in here, and I'm going to cut a line across. That if you can't see this, that's okay, because I'm just getting the bulk out. There's no sense in. All right. So now that we've cut this bottom baseline, what I want to do is I'm going to go in, scissor over comb, and remove the weight. Now, if your guest doesn't want it shaved, what I would do is I would start at the base, just like any other haircut, and either do scissor over comb to work through. So I would go through, take some of this bulk out. Start nice and close here. And just work through scissor over comb. Can you see that, Thad?
Yes.
Yeah,
Good.
it's okay. So I would work scissor over comb and work my way out. So I'm building up a little bit of weight right around the occipital bone. I want my weight line sitting right there. Because the beauty of doing an undercut is if you want to have a little bit of lift on the hair that's coming out, you could build that lift right in here. So it almost bumps the hair up. It's like kind of like a bump it. Is that what it's called?
A bump it, yeah.
Back in the day.
Yes.
The Snooki bump it. It's like putting a bump it right here. So you're building up the weight, adding a little extra occipital bone. It's kind of like my head. I don't even have an occipital bone, I don't think. Feel it's flat. I'm telling you. See what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I fell out of a high chair at McDonald's when I was 1, and it's just
Fair enough.
it's all downhill from there. So
I like to do that. I like to build that weight line just because it pushes the haircut out. And
That's what I'm
makes it
saying.
Look more like
I
like cartoon bobbish, like way out there.
Yeah. So depending on the density, you build that shape out, and then this hair that falls over, it kicks the hair out and lets it sit kind of away from the neck a little bit instead of sitting so flat. So this is a great technique for that. And you can do that all scissor over comb, or you could come in here and take your sections and hold it in your hand and work this way as well. It's really up to you. I'm not trying to make this look too fancy at this point, obviously. You guys can see that. I'm just going through getting it a little bit shorter so we can do our scissor over skin here.
have a guest who has an undercut who wasn't comfortable with us taking it clipper length or even to skin. So we do that nice little graduation in the back so that when she pulls her hair up, she doesn't feel like she's completely exposed, but
Right.
That's what I do on Jensen now.
A little bit
it removes the
closer
weight.
there.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Wow.
She's an not to the skin, but we do it so that it pushes her bob out a little bit further and looks nice and full.
So I do on S. She has that super straight, thick, coarse hair. It's fantastic on her.
So when you look at this length, like this length isn't a big deal, I don't think, to most people. And when that hair falls over, it's definitely going to take out that density and give that separation. It's also good for guests that have that weird kind of flip ducktail thing that comes out. A lot of guests have that issue and they can never blow dry it. This is a challenge area for guests anyways because they can't get to it very well. So going in, removing that completely makes it a lot easier for a blow dry as well. So
well, that's what I always tell people when I try to sell them on any kind of undercut, because those areas right behind the ears are where most of my guests have a hard time blow drying properly because the hair is short and it gets very difficult for them to get in there with the proper size brush. So I explain to them, if you do an undercut, the hair that's actually where they need to use a round brush on, and you'll see as he starts to drop this down, is significantly longer and therefore much easier to get around a brush and get that bob look blown dry to their satisfaction.
Exactly. And with Christina, when I cut her undercut, I would go really high up. Like we would go almost to this point and wrap the undercut around, because what would happen is her hair was just so thick. She could have a full head of hair just up here, right? So, and a lot of our, clients are like that as well. So you really have to determine how short or how much density you really want to take out, because it's going to benefit them a lot more if they have a ton of hair, if you take out a ton of it. You've also seen, I'm not going to do any fancy designs on a mannequin, obviously, but a lot of people will take this nice and short and then cut real fun designs in there. It's another thing that you can do as well. My typical sectioning, if I'm not worried about density, we're working with a medium density of hair, I would go high occipital bone just down to the ear. So slight diagonal forward and just remove that bulk, and I wouldn't worry about the rest of it. So now we're going to work scissor over skin. And the great thing about this technique is you can actually do almost like a skin fade if you get good enough at it, but it takes some practice. I would definitely practice on a mannequin first. But if you come in here, and I'm going to start with this scissor, and I'm going to work my way out slightly towards the top. So you can see how we kind of fade it out just a little bit. I did try to zoom that in.
What's the angle on that?
So my blade, I want to get as tight as I'm going to go like that. I'm going to work this part. And we're going to go real close here.
That's tight. Tight like a tiger.
Yeah, no room for mistakes here.
Don't screw this up.
All right, so I'll slide the blade underneath, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to angle, depending on the angle of the blade, you want to angle it slightly out, but it doesn't have to be completely back, because the further back you go, the longer it's going to be away from the head. So I'm going to start, and you work the blade along the skin, right? So you have to get the one blade moving effect first, so get that motion down. Maybe practice on yourself, right? You can't see that, but you could practice on your own skin. And if you're not afraid to do that, once you get to that point where you're not afraid, then you could try it on another human being or a coworker.
Drea.
Justin.
No.
So we'll work our way through, and then as I get towards the top, I'm gonna back my scissor away, still slightly angled out. So we're gonna work along the edge.
One cool trick this I tried this once in a while at the house. I don't want to shed any blood here. Is you stretch the skin too.
Yeah.
You keep your thumb of the hand that's not cutting around that nape area, and it's just the skin's that much easier to work with.
Right.
Because especially around there, sometimes you have guys who have
Oops.
the hot dog going on back there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the hot dog makes it a little tough.
The hot dog neck. You gotta make sure you really keep everything stretched.
That's why I started going to the gym. I felt like I was getting the hot dog.
hot dog neck.
Yeah, that was starting to scare me a little bit.
I'd tell you.
Oh, thanks, Brian.
I
All
would
right.
just cut it and let you be like, okay, I got it now.
So that's. Let's see if we can see this. Turn it a little bit. So that's another reason why I'm kind of holding the head, because that allows me to, first off, keep control of the guest's head, which is important.
Great scissor control, Matt.
Thanks,
That
Brian.
zoomed in so tight, and I'm watching to see if your other fingers flap up and down. They're not. Good job. Just the thumb moving. That, ladies and gentlemen, is good scissor form.
So that's really what it's all about, is just keeping the control of the scissor. The more you tilt into the head, obviously the shorter it's going to get, the flatter it's going to get, the blade's going to get on there. But you don't want to go too flat, because I'm also not trying to create any holes in there as well. So
Or can you grab the skin? Is that an issue?
with the blade,
Yeah.
you can definitely grab the
Yeah.
skin with the blade, yeah. So you have to be really careful. I mean, this is, don't try this at home, right? Can we get that
Advisory.
somehow written? Yeah. Do not try this at home. This is not an at-home thing. And if you try it at work, it's not my fault if you cut someone.
Well,
Good luck.
I want to say the biggest thing about this technique isn't how you're cutting the hair. It's the shears that you're using.
Yeah.
Because if your shears, you know how just sometimes the tip of them, it kind of bends the hair
Yeah.
rather than cutting the hair. You want your shears to be on point every aspect of cutting, because, again, such precise, tight work like that, you want to make sure you're cutting everything you want to cut.
Right. And these puppies are sharp. But it's just like doing any other fade or haircut. Like some parts, when I get towards the occipital bone, I'm backing off, and then when I'm around the nape, I'm really tight in there and just working that blade flatter towards the skin.
Want to try
So-
it, Brian? Tomorrow?
Yep.
Your 5-hour gap?
I mean, it's not too bad. It's a mannequin. I can't spend all day on it. So that's the undercut portion. Again, you could keep that longer. This is definitely not for everyone, but now you could see how it lightens up. I'll turn this.
Hey, Matt, do you want to zoom out again?
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Bam, bam, bam. That's how much of a dad. I just did the Blues Clues song.
Wow, chow, wow, wow.
That is not
That
the
was
Blues
not-
That is not the
Clues
Blues
song.
Clues song, but
That
what
was
kind
not
of childhood did you have?
Yeah.
That was his second job.
That was Dad's homeschool
Yeah.
Blues Clues right there. All right, so you can see how it's nice and light. You can almost see through the haircut at this point. So now this makes the haircut really easy. I did spend, again, because FSE Live is meant to be not a forever night show, I did spend quite a bit of time smoothing the hair to get it to lay nice. So then I could go through and cut it. This is not, you want to make sure that you do that if you're going to cut this dry. You can also cut this haircut wet. Not a big deal. I like cutting it dry because there's more separation in the hair. I'm going to use a razor on the hair, but I'm not afraid of that being dry because I have a nice brand new blade from Donald Scott. And just like slide cutting with a scissor, it's going to be just as sharp as that. So I'm not afraid to do that. All right. So we grab our carving comb. See if that will zoom in. Here we go.
Boom.
Nice.
Good. That's a good one.
All right, so we got the carving comb. One of my favorite tools. Brian uses this a lot as well, I see.
You do.
He notices you.
I do
You
pay attention.
watch.
All right, so now I'm going to take 2-inch sections. This one's going to be straight down center back. I will turn the mannequin so you guys can see it.
You mean you don't want to grab like all the hair?
No, do not grab it all at once. And instead of holding it in between my fingers, you see that? Yep. So you can see that undercut underneath. Instead of holding it in my fingers like this and going through and cutting it, I like to be able to get closer. So I'm going to pinch the hair right below where I want to start cutting. And then in order to cut a nice bob feel, I'm going to take larger strokes with the razor. Can you see that, Thad?
Mhm.
Okay. Larger strokes with the razor, and because I'm pinching the hair, that does give me a slight little beveled edge. I'm going to go through.
Now, did you prepare the hair with anything with that?
Yes, I did use the Bricado mousse, which I love, for softening the hair. And we also used, in the blow dry, I used the Prepare spray for razor cutting. So it's like a tool glide.
Nice.
But I like that. It does soften the hair, and it's great, and it kind of coats it with a nice conditioner. But I really love it on wet hair for the use of that tool. Now, pinched, over-directed slightly back to that previously cut section, and working at about 2-inch cut, using the 100% cut side of the carving comb.
Mm.
And you can see how it's breaking it up nice. And just working across the head with 2-inch sections. Nothing crazy. And
Just straight back, not.
straight back to that previous section. So you'll see it kind of takes a little bit of a dip forward, but nothing too extreme, because I don't want, I'm not trying to cut a longer front in this one. I just want to go through and square it off. So again, 2-inch section moving into the side of the head.
Hey,
Slight,
Matt.
yeah.
I was just gonna say, do you want to address the question? Do you think razors cause more split ends?
I don't. Now here's the deal. This is
Because I know I've been in classes with you before where the question gets asked and you always have a good answer.
yeah. So, the thought behind a razor is that just like a scissor, sliding across the hair. So even if I was going to take my scissor and go through and slide cut on the hair, there's really no difference. You're cutting a lot more hair at once, so that's why you kind of feel a little bit more resistance in the haircut. But a razor blade is very, very sharp, so it's going to cut the hair just as well as anything else. Now, I do think you should prepare the hair with some kind of protection a little bit. The Prepare spray is great for that, adding a little bit of protein to it. But honestly, we're looking for a shattered edge on the haircut. It's not going to create split ends more than anything else. Let's put it that way.
Excellent.
It will have broken ends because,
Excellent.
that's the whole point of how we're cutting it.
How frequently do you change the razor blade?
I need to change every haircut. I think that, especially if you're going to do dry, you should change every haircut.
Can you do the same technique with a straight razor with a fresh blade?
Yes. Yeah, you could do it. Actually, I have a little toy. This isn't a straight razor, but this is, I got this another gift from Mizutani.
Wait for it.
Wait for it. It's coming. Oh.
Hold still.
They're going for the
There it
head.
goes.
All right. Anyways, here's the Mizutani razor that's coming out in March. So very exciting, and will be available on, I think, solely on freesaloneducation.com on the internet.
Ooh.
Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure. And so you can. All you're doing is just taking larger strokes with the razor, because that softens the edge. And that's what it's all about. There's no comb on the end of this one, though. Do need that.
Can I use that tomorrow?
Yes.
Sweet.
Can I use it tonight?
Yes. For what?
Don't worry about that.
Yeah, that's... I'm not sure about that one. All right. Does anybody have any questions on there?
No, we're pretty much asking them.
Oh, okay.
We're getting there. I just work it in there so seamlessly.
I know. It's really good. All right. So taking the parting. Now this is going to be over-directed slightly back. This is a really easy haircut, guys. I'm not trying to pretend like this is a complicated thing. But what I love about it is you're seeing this haircut on a lot of people. And this is what will give you that kind of broken edge. Is you could do this wet as well. But it's easier to do this in front of you guys on dry hair. And you get I think, a better broken result when it's dry.
I think it's delicious.
It's beautiful.
I mean, I guess it's all right.
All right, so I'm gonna hit it with an iron a little bit, just to
Boom.
smooth out those ends.
And I haven't really seen any of these videos done yet, which is really cool.
For an undercut,
For an undercut with a razor this way. I've
Right.
seen undercut videos every day until my face turns blue. Everybody does undercuts,
right?
whether it's male or female clientele, but nothing like this. So this is kind of cool.
Well, I think the amount of texture and volume that you can get out of a razor cut is fantastic. Or decrease the volume depending on whatever you want.
Yeah, I mean, it's really a look. Like Christina, she's got so much hair, like I said, and in order for her to really love her haircut, I have to cut it with a razor because it takes out all the lines. Like some people's haircuts, you just can't have lines in them because it builds up weight anytime there's a line in it. So you really, this is a great haircut for somebody with thick hair. Let's see. Actives. So I think what takes the most time with this haircut is really just smoothing it and getting it prepped and ready to go. Then once you have it smoothed, you fly through it.
Someone asked, why didn't he do any sectioning first?
I did sectioning, but I didn't need to do, like, not every haircut has to have triangular sections all over it and all of that. Yeah, or the 4 quadrants or anything. What we did was everything was smoothed out, and then we went 2-inch panels all the way through the haircut. So even though this doesn't seem too structured, this is actually pretty structured because we went straight in the back, worked 2-inch sections across, and brought everything to us, right? So we squared this line off in the back. Then I moved to the side and cut this side straight out as well. So I squared off this side. It pushes a little bit longer in the front because you're over-directing from this point of the head back to here. So it swings and gives you a little bit of length in the front. But other than that, this is a square line. And then, which GoPro is that?
That was the one next to Thad that's not plugged into anything.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Woo!
We're good.
And then I moved to this side. So let's break down really quick before we finalize this, just so everyone's clear on what happened. When you're trying to create a shape in a haircut, if I'm moving with the haircut here, and I step into this corner, and I work my way around, and I'm over-directing everything out, that's when I'm going to get that soft, rounded line. So if you want to create that, you could do your 2-inch sections and just follow the head shape, and take those lines off. We're working one length, so we didn't need multiple sections in there. Now, I wanted to cut it square, so I bring everything back to me and cut a straight line in the back over directing it, which in turn pushes weight into these two corners right here, right? So everything comes back, pushes weight here. Then when I move here, I bring everything back, pushes weight here. So you get the weight in the corners of each part of the haircut. So that's really what I'm doing when I go in there and I create with those 2-inch panels this haircut. So it's really up to you guys how you want to, what shape you want to create with this haircut. It's very versatile. You can use it on every guest in the salon, but just use it in different ways. Depends on where you want to put the weight and how much weight you want to remove. But it's a very easy haircut, not complicated at all. And that's why I wanted to show it to you guys so that everyone tomorrow can use it in their own way. Any questions?
Eric has asked, what's an easy way to get both sides even on the client? Shoulders and chair seems to get in the way.
Yeah, I think that's another great part about the razor. So Eric, what I would do is, as I'm going around here, I haven't even looked to see if this thing's even yet. So let's just do that. As a razor cut, when I go in and I take a look, let's go right here. Let me take a look at her head. I think a mirror works wonders. That's the reason we have it. But then I look at the mannequin from afar. So I'll turn her chair out away from the mirror and I'll take a step back or even have her stand up. And then once I determine if there's any longer pieces, I can go in there with the razor and kind of soften each edge.
And to go off of what you're doing right now, somebody's also asked about when they come back, do you use the razor again? And I guess how?
Yeah, I would possibly use the razor again. If they say, oh my gosh, I love that haircut, I need the exact same haircut again, I probably wouldn't go razor. I would probably go scissor. And what I would do is use probably my puffin scissor for dry cutting, and I would go in, pinch the hair, and work the tease cutting technique that we go over every week, or just kind of soften the edges by, let's say we tilt their hair over, and I would even scoop up their hair into my comb and then just soften the edges like that through just to clean it up. Then every couple visits, I would go through with the razor and actually cut it again, depending on their frequency of visits. So if they're coming in often, then I would be more, it's just maintaining the haircut. You don't have to do much to it. If they are putting it off every 3 months coming in, then I would go in with the razor and cut.
Heck yeah.
Heck, yes.
Heck yes.
Anything else?
Can you point cut for a similar effect?
You can. You can point cut for a similar effect, but let's look at when we lift this up here. You can see the shattered bit of this and the shape, right? So the shape is basically if we held the hair like this and we did a ton of point cutting. This is very, very weak on the edges.
It's wicked shattered.
Yeah, so in order to shatter it that much, it's a lot of point cutting. So it depends on what you love doing and how much time you want to do it for. If you can get the same effect with a razor, I think
It's gonna take less time.
in my
to do
opinion,
with the razor.
I go with the razor because it takes less time. You get the same result. It's kind of like I could hammer a nail in with a screwdriver, but it would not be as effective.
You could mow the lawn with scissors,
Yes,
but a lawnmower would be faster.
right.
Well, and I think an important thing to remember is when you cut with a razor, it cuts the hair at a diagonal, so that the hair strand is not coming to a blunt end. So by doing that, it changes how the hair lays down flat.
Good call, Dre.
Boom. Mic drop.
All right, one more on the hair.
Yep.
And then would you say one more from Instagram and then spin?
Sure.
All right, one more on the hair. What would you do to make this look more choppy?
More choppy?
Yeah. Like if you wanted even more than this,
I would
would
go
you just
through.
elevate it more?
You could elevate it more. I would go through and go back in. And so we have a 100% carve side on the carving comb, and we have a 50% carve. I would go through with a little bit of the 50% carve, so you know you're not going to cut all the way through it, and that would start to give me even more of a choppy look. And I would do the same exact sectioning. So you could even go in, cut your line, grab the hair again, and then 50% carve from a little higher up, and then you can see right there, it's already making it more choppy and see-through. Then once you hit this with a spray or something like that, even before you do the 50% carve, you're going to notice a lot of separation. It is pretty choppy already, but if you wanted it more choppy, you had somebody with really thick hair, going through with that 50% carve works really well. If you don't have a carving comb, I would go get one. But if you don't want to go get one, what I would do is go in with either a scissor and point cut, or keep with a razor. If you have a feather razor, grab your 2-inch section again and go through and just go through with the edge of the razor. So let's see. Let's get a zoom in, Thad.
Whoa. Hold on to
So
your
I would
butt.
go in here, my 2-inch section, and I would take the tip of the razor
Just the tip.
and just twist it a bit.
Whoa.
It's not you this time, Brian. It's not you.
I got to make up for a week I was gone.
All right, so I'm going to actually zoom in even more. Wow, look at those gray hairs. All right,
Where to see the...
Don't worry, I'll color her.
so, man, can we get a good angle on this or what?
Just turn.
I know, but.
Perfect.
All right, so if I went in straight, obviously this doesn't really cut anything. So what I do is I just twist the razor a little bit. The more you twist it, the more you're going to cut. If you twist it too much, it's just going to drag, right? So you want to make sure that you're still hitting that 45-degree angle with the razor, but go through and you can get
You're out of frame.
You're out of frame.
Do it up by the scalp.
you can get a nice point cut in there. So back out a little bit.
This haircut makes it look like your hand is super hairy.
I know.
And huge.
So just going through, adding that little edge with the razor, and there you go. So choppier effect on the haircut.
So choppy.
Love it.
All right, Thad.
All right. Do you want to switch gears and do a color question?
Sure. I'll
So,
style this up while you hit that.
You style it up.
Yeah.
To size 7 says, I have a client who wants to grow out her natural hair, which is gray now. We've been coloring her base with a level 4. I want to maintain the health of her hair, which can't handle lightener at this time. Any tips to make this transition easier for her?
I love this transition.
With no bleach,
No bleach, yes.
my immediate go-to was painting in or foiling in the
Root-
level 4.
Yeah.
I would
just-
paint it rather than foil it, though.
Yeah, because you can get it a little bit heavier and less time consuming.
Well,
But-
that I think about that, but I also think about people that think about blondes that just get foiled for years.
Yeah.
Eventually, all of their ends are blonde, which is what we're trying to get away from. And I feel like if you're doing hand painting, you can just be a little bit more conscious of exactly where you're painting and where you're not.
I think to blend out the harshness of the root, I would go in for the first time with foils.
Yeah, because at
It-
that first time you'll probably be at like a half inch.
A half inch, or some people, like I have guests who want to start growing out their gray, and they're only at a quarter of an inch up there. So to really get in there with hand painting is a little difficult, but
And the reason I say this is what I would do is because I don't let my clients go gray.
no, it's not the
In
smartest
a
move.
theoretical world, they're like, should I go gray? I'm like, no, you'll look old. I'll
It-
see you in 6 weeks.
But it is one of those things. You can also then they can start to see how much natural they have, and when you get to the hand painting stage, it harshens the line for them, but you still have control of still adding in more color, so it's not as harsh as seeing 100% gray.
Yes.
So
You boys got anything?
We have 80 people watching.
Oh, we were at 108 earlier.
Wow. All right.
I was going to surprise you at the end, but you had to cheat and look over my
Sorry.
shoulder.
I would have been all nervous.
I know. That's why I didn't tell you. I didn't want you to pee.
Okay, so very, very super excited right now. Really? All right. This is working.
You see it? I warned you. Don't screw this up. We're good.
All right, so guys, this is the end result. Thad, you want to get a quick zoom in on it? End result, I think it's a really cool haircut. I know it's really simple. We're going to do more complicated haircuts on our step-by-steps, right? We put out one today, so if you're looking for that, it was an hour-long haircut that I broke down into 18 minutes. So this is, something quick, something fun, very, very salon reality. So you guys can use this, like I said, on every guest. So if anybody has any questions on the finished style, let's give it a little rotation. You move so you can see. But you can see how it's nice and full. It still has a lot of shape to it, but it's not fat. It's not a fat, like medium length haircut, even though it's pretty much a one length. And that is the beauty of cutting the undercut. So have fun with the undercuts. I'd love to see your guys' interpretation of something like this. This is obviously not something we invented. It's something very popular right now. But I would love to see your interpretation. So make sure you tag us on Instagram and everything else. You could Snapchat me those pictures because for some reason I only get Snapchatted pictures of coffee mugs and birds. I don't know what it is.
Wasn't there a cat?
And cats. So
You asked for it.
follow us on everything. We're going to spin the wheel. Brian, did you pick someone?
Is it a new person?
All right.
All right.
Yeah, we got Tara and Mac.
Tara and Mac. All right. Tara.
Tiara.
You have the opportunity to win
A pair of shears because Dre's going to give them to you.
a pair of scissors from Mizutani, which is ridiculously awesome. We have Donald Scott carving comb, which we used tonight. We have Sunlight's balayage, the Bali box. So if you're looking for that, that's fantastic. Jay Lace has some cool hairdresser clothes. Olaplex, we all know and love. Parker razors, straight blades, that Justin loves and uses. Ergo brushes.
Minerva Beauty.
We love those guys.
Sunlights.
We did Sunlights. Mainstream has 100% of the services for the month. Millennium is 3 months free of Mevo software. And
What are we giving away?
Free Salon Education always gives away Super Silk because I still got to get Super Silk up there. And there was another thing that I wanted to talk about was the question about what do we like more, Olaplex? Truthfully, what do we like more, Olaplex or something else, the BW, whatever?
I think you just answered that question.
Well, I guess we're going with Olaplex on that one.
Since we
Well, we do, but here's the deal. Like everybody keeps asking, and I just want to clarify this. The more and more I dig kind of deeper into the beauty industry, I'm learning the other side of the world of the beauty industry. Olaplex is the first product in a really, really, really long time to actually legit create something new and different, right? So all of these other companies, they all go through companies to create a new product. So somebody comes out with a really cool spray wax, then everybody gets a spray wax because they just change the scent and they make it their spray wax. Olaplex, the guy, Dean, actually developed, well, he didn't, but somebody with him, right? This brilliant chemist came up with Olaplex. Now everybody's trying to do it, but this isn't the same type of product. So Olaplex really works, and it works because that's what it was invented to do. These other people are trying to recreate Olaplex, and I think that's coming from it's not coming from the guy who created Olaplex. It's coming from these other chemists that are trying to break it down and figure it out. So my answer to that can only be it can only be 100% honest because Olaplex is the only thing I think like Olaplex. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically, no matter what you put up against it, Olaplex is the answer.
Yeah. Tiara.
Tara.
Tara is going to win something awesome. Here we go, Drea.
What do we got?
That was a good one.
I know. I feel like the wheel's going to break.
Or just never stop.
I know.
I'll see you guys tomorrow.
All right, Tara, what's it going to be? What's it gonna be?
Ergo.
Nice.
That's awesome.
You can't,
All right,
you
cool.
can't lose with Ergo.
And I have a meeting with them tomorrow, so make sure you send your information because I will pass it along to them.
To
Super
who?
excited as
Wait,
well.
send
I
it
have a
to who?
meeting. What's that?
Send it to who?
To contest
Contest
at
freesaloneducation.
freesaloneducation.com.
Did you already say that?
No.
Well, there you go.
It was a test to see if they watched past episodes.
So send your email or send your address to contest at freesaloneducation.com, and we'll pass your address along to Ergo and get you some hookups on some brushes. And I'm really excited. I have an awesome meeting with Demand Force tomorrow. So we've got some new stuff coming up. I really love working with them. So I'm excited to learn the new features with the company this year. So I'll pass those along to you guys as well. Anybody else have anything? Feel
No.
good?
Feel great.
All right. This is where you guys need to share. Yeah.
We've got, just real quick, since I know you're in good with Dean and Olaplex, is it true? Has anybody actually bought the technology from Olaplex, or are people just claiming it?
No.
There are companies that say they've purchased the technology from Olaplex, so they're legit to use.
As far as I know, last time I spoke to Dean on the phone, he was never selling that. I mean, I can't imagine he did, but I mean, if he did, good for him. I mean, that's a pretty good day. But I don't know that for a fact. So, but you know what? Check with Dean, and we'll get back to you guys on that for sure. So make sure you tune in next week.
Woohoo, what are we doing next week?
Next week,
Same thing we do
Brian will be doing, I think, color. Then I want to get Justin doing some men's cutting. So a couple weeks of some different stuff, and then I'll probably be back hair cutting, and then Drea, we're lining up some stuff as well. Thad wants to go. He's got a pixie cut, I think we're gonna do, right? So we got to come up with that date. So we've got a lot of fun stuff.
I'm
And
doing fantasy color.
I'm
finally not doing balayage.
Yeah.
Actually, that's not true. I'm painting it on.
Well, it's a step, you know. One
breaking
step
away
at a
It's
from
time.
not
light there.
bleach.
Yeah.
But
I'm going to ruin that nice white backdrop.
yeah, that's okay. It rips. So, last thing, need you guys. We need your feedback. So post below. If you love the show, post about it. If you love the show, share it with your friends. If you love the show, go follow everybody on the show.
If you didn't, keep your mouth shut.
Andrea's got a new professional Instagram page she's going to be launching.
Yes.
So I'm excited about that.
That was top secret.
And so we can get more work out there. And that's pretty much it. So if you guys have any questions or anything like that, post them in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, all of you. Super excited about the amount of people that watched live today. That's like record breaking. Let's keep that going. Make sure you tie in. Bring at least one friend with you for the next show, but they have to be on a separate computer.
Yeah. Bring your own laptop.
Yeah.
Have a party. Have a viewing party.
Hair
Let's
party.
do that. Let's log into your friends' computers as well, so we can get even more people watching.
How about this? If we get over 150 viewers next week, can somebody live spin the wheel?
Yep.
There we go.
BYOLP.
So if we have over 150 people, FSE will give away something really awesome, and somebody that's live on the show will spin this time.
150 though.
All right.
So, all right, we need 150 live. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thad, are we ready to roll?
Ready to roll.
All right.
Woo!
Follow Justin.
To my car in the middle of the night.
All right.
I am Justin Scott.
Drea,
Dre Day 2289.
for now. Dre Day 2289. Brian,
Hairstyle. HAIRE.
Thad,
Bad bowl nest.
and follow us, everything at Free Salon Education. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you next week.